Okay, ham PSA time.
The future of comic book and superhero movies lies with Superman and the Fantastic Four.
He's gonna be broke. He is gonna be miserable.
And I did just fact check Ham during that. He's right.
It, I'm laughing at this.
Hello and welcome back to the Real Talk podcast with Studio 24. We're the guys from Studio 24. My name's Kael. I'm here with my co-host Jackson Ham. And today we're really talking some movies.
Yeah, of course we are. But before we can do that, Kael, we gotta shout that out.
Shout that out. Shout that out is a segment where we shout out a filmmaker, a TV show, an actress, an actor, a musician, whatever's kind of giving us some inspiration at the moment. And today, I'm going to be shouting out Eiichiro Oda because he is sending me on a journey right now. I have started my search for the One Piece, and this is a show that I really never saw myself watching, but I'm 80 episodes into it now, and I absolutely love it.
That's a legendary shout out. I've not started my journey for the One Piece yet, but for my shout that out, it's a huge legacy of a man who recently passed as of filming, Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness himself. It's just this last week I was listening to some of his music after his passing, and it's just, what a talent. What an artist.
Yeah.
And there's just one time I was listening to Road to Nowhere, which is a really good song, and for some reason I just got the image of Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern, in my head. I was like, that'd be a good song for him. I don't know why. I can't tell why, but it just vibed that way. And to me, art is really great when you can be consuming one piece of art and be reminded of other things that are also art. And huge shout out to Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah. So that was a great shout out. I felt like ever since Ozzy's passed, I found myself finding some of his slower songs that aren't as heavy, and I think, I don't know, through that I think I've kind of gotten to look into more of him as a person through listening to some of those slower songs, and it's just been cool to see everyone kind of rally around something or somebody. But on the podcast today, we're going to be going over the Fantastic Four. Last week we talked about Superman for a really long time, so we're going to have a lesser conversation about Fantastic Four. We're going to take a look at Ari Aster's Eddington. I love Ari Aster. This was a film I was excited for until I watched it. And then we're going to just take a look at a couple other things, Studio 24 and film related. So go ahead and tell me about your opening thoughts to Fantastic Four.
Well, we're going to just cut past non-spoilers this time. I feel like, just due to podcast release schedule and stuff, everybody will have had ample time to kind of educate themselves on the Fantastic Four first steps. My thoughts on Fantastic Four, overall likes. I like the family itself. The Fantastic Four is a great core to the movie.
Best part of the movie.
Specifically, Johnny and Ben. I feel like that dynamic they really nailed down in a good way. I like Galactus. My gosh, I can't believe how well they did Galactus in this film. I like the vibe of the retro 60s futurism that the film had going on. And I think it's just a strong, almost a solo film. It is a team, but it's very much just a contained little movie. It feels kind of just like a random movie that the MCU made. It's very not connected to much else. It's just the Fantastic Four, and I like that it did that. I think there are maybe a few drawbacks in certain senses, but I do like that it's just this very insular thing.
Yeah, I think one of the strongest things about the movie are the characters themselves. I didn't know much about the cast besides Pedro Pascal, and so I thought he was good. I didn't know how I would like him as Reed Richards, but I thought he was good. Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, though, I thought was pretty amazing. Maybe one of the show's stealers for me. But the other two characters, The Thing and Johnny Storm, were also really cool. I think people have always talked about how The Thing gets kind of like shoved away in some of these Fantastic Four films, and I definitely think that's still true for this one.
Definitely. I mean, it's been like confirmed there was definitely some stuff cut from this film. There was some cut content, so a couple of characters, definitely the two core characters they focus on here are Reed and Sue.
Right.
Because they're kind of the central plot with Franklin coming into all this, and Ben and Johnny are kind of just the kind of supporting cast.
They
in
just
a way.
Some uncles.
They some uncles. Which I don't know. I liked them. I feel like this is a hot take. I liked them more than Reed and Sue. I like Sue. Hot take. I'm not too sold on Pedro as Reed. I felt there was a little more for me to like. Now, he is kind of going for a very particular interpretation. It's just that's not the comic book interpretation of Reed that I really feel that's very engaging. I don't find that one very engaging. But he does have some moments that I do like throughout. Like when he's talking to Franklin, he's like, I'm just going to let you be you. I got to stop doing this, and I just got to be me and let you be you. Like, that I felt was the Reed coming through that I do like.
Probably his best moment in the film.
Most likely, yes.
As a character and as an actor, probably the best moment for that character on screen. And I can agree that, Pedro wasn't the most engaging character. He didn't get to play the most engaging character in the film. I just think I think this whole team, we just haven't seen enough of them.
Yeah, part of just kind of jumping into the story and kind of not getting to know them as well as the other films, of course, built them up into the team, which I think works and doesn't for some of the older films. I mean, Fan Four Stick doesn't really work at all. But the OG one with Chris Evans and all that, there's elements of those two films that I think work for the team and stuff, and they could have carried forward but did not.
So you said that you like Galactus, and I'll say my thoughts on Galactus, I was very iffy on until we get into the movie, and I'm like, holy crap, this is awesome. I think the space mission that they go on,
that is so down to its core Fantastic Four.
I thought that was by far the best scene in the movie. You just have so many engaging moments. Everybody's doing something. Johnny Storm loses his shit up there for a minute, and that was really cool.
Yeah.
You're conversing with Galactus and the Silver Surfer. You're kind of getting chase scenes. We are exploring space, like a Star Wars movie, or it kind of even feels like...
It feels like science fiction.
It does feel like science fiction. It even looked like Inception at moments.
With the black hole, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just thought the space mission was absolutely awesome. But Galactus, where he starts to fall short for me, is when he comes in at the end of the film to New York, and he's like...
Yeah.
He's not that big, and I get it, he's got to be a little smaller to, hold Franklin and pick him up and not just kill him, but, I don't know, just some of the scaling I didn't think was the most... The scaling was a little anticlimactic, I kind of thought, and their fight with him, I'm just... Let's get him to step over here, and then we'll teleport him away. We'll switch out the baby. It was oh, this is a little Scooby-Doo. But, but...
That's the way you're going to describe certain things from this point forward. Little Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. It
certain aspects.
It was a little Scooby-Doo. But Sue bringing him down was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take that character moment away from her, Invisible Woman, yeah.
Yeah, Galactus, I think, the vibe was really good for him. He feels like this being that has just existed in the universe for so long, and he has his own like desires and stuff like that, and that endless hunger, they really captured that. But once he like gets in New York and how they defeat him and stuff like that, that's where Galactus kind of like diminishes for me, because I feel like this is one part where like there's a lot of comic book stuff that I'd say if you know the comics, there's certain things that you're just married to from the comics. You're like, I think they really nailed it in the comics. I don't know how. And then sometimes a filmmaker can convince you or something like that. They didn't really convince me on how they took down Galactus in this, because I think just the original comic where Reed gets this thing called the Ultimate Nullifier, that is this little radio-looking device that unmakes all of reality, and basically making the biggest gamble in the history of the universe and being like, you go or I unmake everything. Like, this is the gamble. I think it would have been even more powerful for him to be like, you can take my son, but it's not going to yield anything because reality itself will be gone.
You take my son, I'll take everything.
Yes, everything's got to go. And I think that would have made him a very dynamic character. I think it would have maybe furthered some of the themes that were kind of going on, and some of the foreshadowing that takes place when they're like, hey, I'll move like the universe in heaven for this child. Yeah.
Like that's kind of very much a theme, and I think it would have been very powerful if you've got Reed Richards kind of working on this device, and he's like, oh, I can't get it to work, and he's like trying to make it work throughout the film, gets it to work, and is like, hey, if we can't move the universe, I'll get rid of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like I think it would have been a little bit more powerful, but yeah, I just think they dropped the ball on fighting Galactus, but the writers did. But I think that was probably the hardest part too, because it's like, how's the Fantastic Four gonna fight Galactus in New York? Like,
how are they gonna fight Big Purple Space God Man in the middle of New York without leveling the entire city?
Yeah, so it's like that. We can just kind of move past that and say, like, yeah, it wasn't the best fight. It probably does water down the movie just a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Would lower my score for the movie.
That's, I think, a big part of what earns it the score for that I'm going to give it.
What you give Fantastic Four out of 10?
7.5.
7.5. I'm at like a 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't believe you gave it a 7.5. But I do, because I didn't think you liked the movie that much, but I do think there are so many good things about the movie. Dude, it's so fun. Like, the Fantastic Four theme, Fantastic Four.
That is a very good addition to it. Michael Giacchino outdid himself once again.
Yeah, I loved that. And then I loved just kind of the opening, how it kind of starts out with a quick pace, and that's kind of what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, that's what it needed, really.
Yeah, you get to learn pretty quickly about these characters in this world. Earth 838. Yeah, so I think it's going to be interesting to see how this connects. I thought this movie would connect to Doomsday a little more than it did, given the end credit scene.
I thought it would, too. And that was originally kind of why I was so disappointed with the movie. I was like, given it was not sold as that at all.
Right.
But I was like, don't we kind of have to? But I kind of really like that aspect of it, because it's like, okay, well, if that sucks, this is not wholly married to that now, which is a really good thing.
Right.
If that ends up not being too good. But I don't know. I'm lukewarm on the movie. It's just, there's a lot of aspects that I'm like, they did so much right, but there's just these bigger, to me, holes for it for me. But it's still a decent film, and that's why I give it a 7.5.
Yeah, one thing I'll just say about the movie in general and the marketing, I think First Steps was a really awesome title. Not only is this like the introduction to the Fantastic Four in the Marvel Universe, it is their first steps into the Marvel Universe. But with the whole space theme and the baby,
yeah,
I think First Steps just covers the film so well.
For sure.
You have anything else you'd like to say about the movie?
I think we got to talk about Silver Surfer. We haven't really mentioned them yet. Shia
LaBeouf. So I am a pretty big comic book fan, and I don't want to sit here and talk about, the comic books the whole time we sit here and talk about, every time we talk about superhero movies, just because I do want to examine the movie. But Shia LaBeouf was a character I didn't even really know from the comic books.
I didn't either.
I think the MCU is getting to a point where they pulling on some characters from the comics. I'm like, I have no background knowledge here. So I think people were kind of felt a certain way about Shia LaBeouf being the Silver Surfer and not, what's his name?
Norrin
Rad. So it is just a different version of the character. I think it played out similar.
It is very similar to the Norrin Rad rendition.
Kind of feels like they've combined the characters.
A little bit, yeah. They are two separate characters, but they're connected in the comic books, because if I'm right, don't cook me, Norrin Rad was in love with Shia LaBeouf.
Right.
And, that's kind of who he was protecting when he became Silver Surfer and spared his planet from Galactus. But in this, of course, they do a little remix on it. So the origin for the Silver Surfer is the exact same. I loved someone to spare my planet. I became the Herald of Galactus. And then kind of realizing that I'm doing something wrong. And, helping the Fantastic Four at the end of the day. Though Shia LaBeouf is a little less involved than I'd say the Norrin Rad version is in other interpretations and stuff. So it was at least interesting. I'm like, they had to sell me on Shia LaBeouf personally, because I was like, why not just do regular Silver Surfer? But they at least gave her a reasoning to be in there and sold me on it. So by the end, I was like, this is a cool one. I still want to see the traditional Silver Surfer, because I don't know, that's where it all came from. So
yeah. See, I just didn't have much thoughts on it. I like Julia Gardner.
Yeah.
And I thought she was great. Her, I herald Galactus. I herald everything else. That was cool. The way that she kind of moved on the board, her and Johnny Storm's kind of chemistry, I liked. But yeah, I just didn't think there was too much to grab onto. Silver Surfer is not the biggest part of this movie, you know? They're like a little bit of a limited amount of screen time. So.
For sure. But their inclusion is welcome, and at least, I don't know. I wasn't like, female Silver Surfer, why you gotta make him a woman, or anything like that. I was just kind of like, okay, that's interesting. I look forward to how they do that, but if it's just gonna be Silver Surfer, why not do Silver Surfer? But maybe they want to keep that for the main continuity. They're like, maybe that's coming.
You gotta think Galactus and Silver Surfer are interdimensional beings. They are. Right. There's not gonna be another Silver Surfer.
No, there could be.
You think?
Well,
there wouldn't be one from another Earth.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Are you? Galactus is in every universe.
Right, but wouldn't the multiverse only have one Galactus?
No.
Okay.
No. That's a concept that's used for Darkseid in some interpretations.
Okay.
But Galactus, if you go to say Earth 616, there's also going to be one in 1610 or something like that.
Okay.
There's not just one Galactus.
I thought.
Okay. Ham PSA time. I've seen a lot of influencers posting, there's one multiversal Galactus, so remember, all these interpretations that you've seen across media, it's the same dude. No, it's not. It's not. That's factually incorrect. Okay? This I just got to put it out there, because it's been bothering me. I'm not going to lie.
I've seen it everywhere, so that's what I thought.
See? We got him. The fake news media got Kael. And about Galactus.
Dalton producing the show, he said him too.
So, no, Galactus is in every universe because it's just the thing. Like, Galactus is in every part of the Marvel multiverse. He's not a multi-dimensional being where it's like, if Galactus pops up in Earth 828, it would be the same Galactus that pops up in Earth 616. This is evidenced in the comic books. Galactus of Earth 616 is the one that introduced it all. And then in Earth 1610, the Ultimate Universe, Galactus is like this robot type thing, where it's a bunch of robots that destroy planets, called Galactus. So it's definitely not... I mean, they may change it up for the movies. Very well could. But, as far as I know, that's what it is. And that my ham PSA tangent over. I just gotta inform the masses.
Okay.
That's been eating at me. I'm not gonna lie.
And I did just fact check Ham during that. He's right. Not every universe has a Galactus, but there are multiple Galacti.
Yes.
So, I don't have much to say about the movie itself now, but I do want to we keep coming back to this conversation where we were saying that, like, the future of comic book and superhero movies lies with Superman and the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
We said Superman did an amazing job at keeping people into superhero movies and passing the baton to the next. Fantastic Four, not as good as Superman, I would say.
Yeah, I'd give the edge to Superman as well. I think almost all of us give the edge to Superman over Fantastic Four. But both made money.
I think both were good, and so I'll loop this in as well as, like, with the end credit cutscene, you see RDJ come back as Dr. Doom, just because multiple people have said it wasn't a stand-in and that he was on set. So you see Dr. Doom show up. We didn't lead into the next film as much as we originally thought, but we did, however,
have that post-credit scene.
Lead into the next film. I'm excited to see where it goes next. So I think these two comic book movies did their job.
They did their job, I think, well. They've got audiences strung along for the next adventure, I'd say, in both universes. For Marvel, I think it's Spider-Man, which, how can you pass that up?
Oh my God, we've just seen the teaser that kind of shows the suit off and now set photos.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
But yeah, I think audiences will come back for some more, because everyone I know who's seen both has liked them for the most part. They've been like, that was good. I'll come back for another now. Some people I know are like, that's the best DC thing since, like, Wonder Woman for them. Some more casual viewers and stuff like that. So the question that I feel like, there's a couple questions here. So at the end we see Doom with Franklin.
Right.
So obviously I guess that means Franklin and Doom are going to play a big role in Doomsday and Secret Wars.
Right.
Which to me says they're going to kind of do a combo version of the classic 80 Secret Wars and 2015 Secret Wars. I was hoping somehow, because Galactus gets warped off, Galactus's power being, like, usurped by Dr. Doom is a big part of the original Secret Wars. So I'm hoping they can do that somehow, because that would be very interesting to see in very classic Secret Wars. It doesn't give us much, because I have a question here. Doom's role in the future. We don't really know. We just know he's going to be the big bad of the next two Avengers films.
And
really.
we know, too, that Franklin's got some pretty otherworldly powers.
Yes. He is stacked in the comics, so...
I mean, yeah, like, one of the most powerful beings in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, he's technically the reason there's, like, a quote-unquote sliding time scale where, like, characters don't age in the comics. Like, they kind of pin that on him.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So, yeah, but we don't know his role or Dr. Doom's role coming up.
We just know they're going to play a part.
We just know that it will be a big role.
Yes.
So, nothing but excited for it. Do you want to go ahead and move past?
I gotta say, it's the age-old question with every MCU release. Is the MCU back?
Is the MCU back? Well, I'll tell you this. In the past year, I've seen 3 MCU films with Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, and
Brave New World?
Brave New World. Captain America 4. I liked Fantastic Four more than both of those movies.
Yeah.
And Thunderbolts, I see people saying like, nah, there's no way this is better than Thunderbolts. I wasn't as crazy about Thunderbolts. Like, I do care more about the characters now, but that's about it.
Yeah. I'd say Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, it just depends on your taste for comic book movies, which one you like more.
I think so, too. But is the MCU back? For now.
Until the next release. We'll see. They seem to be cooking on Spider-Man, so maybe it'll be back for 2 movies instead of like the kind of like Deadpool and Wolverine to Brave New World. Like, MCU's so back. Oh, man.
Before we move on to Eddington, let's talk about Spider-Man.
Yeah, let's throw that in here.
So we've seen the set photos. We've seen the suit. Everything looks amazing. I mean,
we've seen cast now. Like, they've revealed who all's coming back from past projects.
Dude, Michael Mando coming back as Mac Gargan, gonna play the Scorpion. As a Better Call Saul fan who absolutely loves Nacho, and if you've seen Better Call Saul, you know Michael Mando is a tier 1 actor, like S-tier actor. You know he's gonna be the best Mac Gargan, like, ever.
Yeah, I mean, he played such a small role in Homecoming, and I feel like everybody was like, Mac Gargan, Venom, and they looked that up, you know, like, I was one of the kids who was like, who's this random, like, guy that Vulture's talking to, and it's like, oh, that's Scorpion. I said Mac Gargan, but he also did Venom in the comics, my bad.
Right.
But Scorpion, that's going to be so cool to see.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I'm loving that, and Michael Mando, like, going back before, like, Nacho, he played this character named Voss for Far Cry 3. Okay. Who's, like, the main villain of Far Cry 3. So, it's going to be really cool to see him as Scorpion.
Right, and we only have limited information about the movie. We know it's going to be a little different for Peter this time around.
He's going to be broke. He is going to be miserable. And you know what? That's how we want to see him. I want Peter broke. I want him destitute. I want him miserable. But you know what? Over the next 3 movies, he's going to build himself up better than ever.
I think it would be very cool if, like, when he's not going to have the money to do his science projects.
He's going to have to use some real problem-solving skills.
He might have to become a photographer. If he became a photographer, I think he's just got that, like, oh, he can get in places to take great photos and shit. Like, I think we could see him become a photographer. That would be fun.
Considering the history of this Spider-Man and how J. Jonah Jameson has boned him so much in the MCU, like, it would be interesting to see if he's working for J. Jonah Jameson.
That would be crazy.
That'd be literally like, yeah, this guy blew up my life. Nobody remembers that. I do, but this guy blew my life up.
Right.
Now I'm working for him.
I keep forgetting that nobody remembers that scene.
Yeah, technically, that doesn't exist. Like, nobody knows who Peter Parker is.
Right. Anyways, really excited for Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Costume looks great.
Always excited when a new Spider-Man film's coming out. Especially, I'm a big Tom Holland Spider-Man fan. So, yeah, always going to be excited. Anything else you got to say about Spider-Man?
Costume looks great. Looking forward to it. Raised webbing is back, people. Real quick, we're going to come in and thank our partner, Dubby. Are you tired of the jitters from coffee or all the money wasted on your favorite unhealthy gas station energy drink? Well, you got to try Dubby. It fulfills all your energy needs with none of the jitters. And they have awesome flavors like campfire s'mores, mango, orange cream, tiger's blood, and so much more. The best part is, though, you can use code STUDIO24DUBBY at checkout and get 10% off your caffeine supply. What more could we give you? Just go, get you some Dubby out in your favorite flavor, and use code Studio24Dubby for 10% off your order. Now let's get it back to the pod.
Yeah. So get your Dubby, support Studio 24. And we're going to segment right into our next movie that we're talking about in this podcast, Ari Aster's Eddington. So, to give just a little bit of background, I'm a huge Ari Aster fan. I was exposed to him when people were passing around his damn student film. I think Ham here showed
Yeah, I was the one who showed you that. I heard about it.
If you haven't seen The Strange Thing About the Johnsons, you can watch it on YouTube. It's a short film that Ari Aster made before he was a feature filmmaker, and it is probably to this day the most disturbing film I have ever seen. I use it as like a party trick on people.
It's a good party trick, I'm not going to lie.
When you're like, hey, you like horror movies? And someone's like, yeah. You're like, oh, you should watch The Strange Thing About the Johnsons. And you're like, oh, really? Yeah, it's about this family. It's just really disturbing, really scary movie. And the next time you see them, they'll probably hate you because you got them to watch the damn movie.
Yeah. That's kind of what I did to you guys, except I was like, guys, you want to watch this movie? And then I showed you, and you were like, I'm just sitting there looking at you the whole time like, you like the movie? Like the movie? And it's, and that's another good trick. You just sit there and you look at them and you're like, what you think about the movie? But that's the first thing I watched of Ari Aster. And that was while Hereditary and Midsommar had been out for a while. And I think that's what all got us in on him.
Yeah. I then started with Midsommar, and then that movie thought was okay when I first watched it. Wasn't necessarily sold until I dug into it a little more. But then I watched Hereditary. And I was like, whoa, this is like the best modern horror film I've seen. And now that have done a bigger deep dive in cinema, I really see the Rosemary's Baby inspiration within Hereditary, and that's one of my favorite horror films.
Yeah.
So when you kind of take that and The Exorcist and kind of push them into one movie, I feel like you get Hereditary. And it is just, like I said, probably one of my favorite modern horror films, besides one that came out this year, and we'll get to that later. Bring Her Back was an amazing film. But, anyways, Ari Aster, Hereditary, I'm even a Beau is Afraid fan.
Yeah.
And I know you don't like that film as much, but I loved Beau is Afraid. I think it's just one of the more fun, psychological films I've seen.
It's definitely interesting. That film feels like it rage baited me. I'm not going to lie. It's an interesting way to describe a movie, but I went in, I was like, Beau's Afraid. Hell yeah. Ari Aster, baby, let's go. And I sat there, and it was like the longest movie I've watched in a long time, and it felt so long, and I got out, and I was just like, what the hell, man? Like, and to this day, it's just because of that experience, I'm just kind of like, my girlfriend, she's like, oh, watch this video. I watched it and I like the movie a lot more. I'm like, no excuses. But, it's a well-made film at least.
I think I'm the complete other way around. For as long as that movie is, I think it flies by because of the craziest shit that is just constantly happening. And there's kind of like a halfway point in that film where it almost feels like two separate movies.
Yeah.
And I think that was just really entertaining to me as well. But one thing that you're going to get in an Ari Aster film is this deep dive into the character's psychology.
Yeah.
And that begins to unravel things about the film. And so when you go into Eddington and you've seen all of Ari Aster's other work, for the first hour and a half of this movie that, like, all this stuff that's been happening is going to loop around and punch me in the face. Like, as soon as we get into the back 20 minutes of this movie, because that's what happens in an Ari Aster film. The back 20 minutes loops everything back around.
And you're like, Oh!
Like Beau's mom.
Yeah.
From Beau is Afraid. Like, I think a perfect example. Or the woman from Hereditary, what's her name? Joan. When she comes back on, thank you, Dalton. That's just what you get when you sign up for an Ari Aster film. Eddington, however, chooses to kind of be a 2020 period piece.
Yeah.
I would call it, like... And one thing I'll say about the film in general is, too soon. People are still getting over this kind of stuff, but I don't even think that's the biggest problem. I do think, however, in 10 to 15 years, if Eddington came out, I would have less of a kind of sour taste about it, and I would just be like, oh, holy crap, yeah, that's what it was like in 2020.
I'm not going to lie, a part of me is still like that. One of my overall likes is that I was kind of like that. Silent theater, I'm the only one like chuckling at bits in it. Like, I was just like, f it, I'm laughing at this. You know, it was just so, certain aspects of it, I was just like, I remember specifically with the kids in the movie. Like, there were some moments where I'm like, this is such like, I remember there's some real like activism and stuff going on. But it's like the people you know, there was so much other like performative stuff that was going on as well.
Oh, performative stuff that's supposed to be activism.
Yeah.
But it's like, genuinely, these people are just bitching about what they've read on social media. Like,
and that's what's going on in the film, and I feel like that's probably where we can relate to it.
I think where we relate the most, I think where I relate the most at least, is, and this is what I think the film's trying to say as a whole, is that, like, when everything broke out and the world went into pandemic and everything was on lockdown, like, you literally have these scenes. Backstory, in 2020, I was working at a restaurant that did not allow you to come in unless you were wearing a mask in southern Tennessee. So the people here did not want to wear masks, and you get this scene in the movie. And this is in Texas, and I think Tennessee and Texas.
New Mexico.
Yes, this is in New Mexico. And I think those states and kind of like the southern west share qualities to a place like Tennessee.
Yeah.
And you've just got these similar situations to that I was actually in where old Joe Cross, the sheriff of this town, is trying to go into the grocery store and they won't let him in unless he has a mask on. And it starts causing this discourse, and that's just the whole film. It's these little tiny things causing fights between people. And then it'll come out to social media, and then it blows up in some kind of light, and then everyone has an opinion on it. And then when this thing that blew up on social media gets down to the truth of all of it, like, it's just so separated. And what it's doing is it's bringing out the worst in people. You're seeing Joe Cross get insanely pissed off at this little grocery store, and he's like, I have asthma. You want me to, and I'm not, if I put this mask on, I can't breathe, and you want me to not be able to get my groceries and not eat either?
Yeah.
And you've just, everything's just so blown out of proportion, it feels like.
Yeah, a thing about the film that it really highlighted to me, reflecting on back then, is it's like, we're all just trying to, like, do what's kind of best for us, but we're also trying to have, like, such final answers, but it's like, we can't because everything is moving so fast. It's like, this just happened. Yeah. And everybody wants, like, here's the right answer right now. And it's like, over the years, it's like, yeah, we came up with this stuff, but we're just doing the best we can at the moment. Especially like that grocery store. Like, they're just doing the best they can to keep their doors open so people can get groceries and eat and stuff like that. And it was an interesting visit back to that time period. I didn't work in a restaurant. I worked at a radio station. And when I went in, no one was there. So I was of a more isolated type. Yeah, I was just out alone, going back and forth from like home to there, and didn't have to deal with anybody really. So I don't know. It was an interesting to get a peek at what I kind of saw. Like, I saw stuff not like Eddington, but of a similar vibe. Like, I'd see that through social media instead. Whereas you got to see some of it up close, really.
Oh, yeah. But, and that's kind of what the film's doing the whole time with everything. It's like, even this, I think one of the cooler things about the film, you know, I think we both didn't really like the film, I could say.
No, both of us were kind of like, meh.
Yeah, but I think one of the things that I really like about it is that this small town of Eddington is like a representation of America as a whole. And you have this political campaign that's going on where the current mayor, played by Pedro Pascal, and we're talking about 2 Pedro movies.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, no, I saw a meme. It's like, if you want to go to the movie theater right now, you've got like 4 Pedro Pascal movies.
Yeah, which movie with Pedro Pascal do you want to see this week?
But so you have this political debate between Joe Cross and Ted Garcia. And Ted Garcia is the mayor. Joe Cross is our boy Joaquin Phoenix. And it's just so stupid that their fight and their like campaign against each other is the most childlike, just filled with stupidity, trying to backstab each other.
It's like Joaquin's Joe Cross, like his whole hatred is based on like nothing that is based in reality.
No, it is his anger is all fueled by bullshit on social media, and he's not even a guy
like
that's
just made up stuff.
Yeah, he's not even really a guy that's on social media a lot through the film, but like the cops under him are constantly telling him like, "Oh, look at this article," or "Look what they're saying about this."
Yeah.
And you've got the kids who are kind of standing up for the BLM movement, which was big in 2020.
Yeah.
You've got these kids on the street kind of, they're not really causing much trouble, but in a small town, you know, they're just kind of blocking roads and stuff, and he's constantly trying to, like, diffuse the situations. Mm-hmm. So everybody's just at each other constantly. So he feels all of this pushing against him, and it causes him to go kill the mayoral candidate.
Dude, whenever Pedro's just sitting there, bullet goes through his chest, I was like, okay, is this the end of the movie? And then it goes on, and it's like what you said, the next 30 minutes are like to me, it's where we lose the plot. Like, when Pedro dies, I'm like, and then it keeps going. I'm like, we've lost the damn plot, Ari, what's going on here? And then it gets into even weirder. The back half of this movie, after Pedro dies, feels like there's this image, and I'll try and find it to flash it up on the screen, of like a little puppy, and it's got its like brain exposed, and they're like shooting a needle in it, and there's like a 5G tower in the background and stuff. That's what the back half of this movie feels like. You're just like, what the hell is going on? You got like paid corporate, like extremist, weird commie assassins coming into the town, and they're trying to kill Joe Cross for some reason, and then like Joe betrays like his best deputy.
Yeah.
At the same time, trying to pin the murder of Mayor Garcia on him for some reason.
And that's when, like, you're just seeing, like, oh, God, all the bullshit from the front half of the film made Joe Cross into, like, the worst possible Joe Cross he could have been.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think what came from the back half of the movie were characteristics that, like, existed in him before everything pushed him so far. For him to kill the mayor just so that he can become mayor, for what? So he can shut down all of the dumbass shit that's, like, not even happening that he's mad about? Like,
yeah, it's,
like you said, you just lose the plot once everybody's so worked up and pissed off.
Yeah, and that's probably a part of the point, is that it's like everybody lost the plot that year in a way, probably. But yeah, Joe Cross, like at the beginning of the movie, I'm like, I can kind of understand him, but as it goes on, it's just he gets more and more demented. And then once he kills Pedro, and he kills Pedro's son too. Which, I don't know, at that moment I was kind of like, I don't know, a little shit. He was an asshole throughout the film, his kid.
Does he die?
Yeah, he's dead.
Damn, okay, yeah.
You're realizing that now, you're like, wow, that's messed up.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that, I don't know, like, I can see it after a certain point, but I'm like, I don't know. I didn't really realize Joe Cross had this in him until he did it.
And
really.
So there are two things that the movie's like subtly trying to work into the plot that I didn't think worked well into the plot whatsoever. And that is Austin Butler's character.
Yeah.
Who is like the leader of...
He's almost like this weird QAnon-esque type guy, but not... I don't know. He's like this weird religious QAnon-adjacent type guy who's talking about we're all connected by this one factor or whatnot. But in this world, by the end, it's like, I don't know, he might be telling the truth because of the corporate assassins that come through at the end.
And I think that kind of plays into what was going on at the time as well, as you had kind of people standing up saying, hey, the world's ending and we need to turn to God.
Yeah.
And while that stuff might not have been the worst advice to listen to, it's just, I think that's what he's kind of representing, but I still don't.
But he's also kind of a piece of trash.
Because he, like, marries Joe Cross's wife by the end?
Yeah, Emma Stone.
Yeah.
And they're having a kid together. Now, maybe her character seems like a whole complicated thing. Like, she's definitely a person who was traumatized as a child, and it got, like, low-key covered up.
Yeah.
By her mom, who is now living with them.
Nut Job, the mom.
Yeah, the Nut Job, who thinks Emma Stone's character is an even bigger nut job after she goes off with Austin Butler's character. But it's Emma Stone doesn't have a lot to do in this movie, and her character honestly is really interesting. Like a low-key, very interesting part of the movie where you think about her and you're like, wow, that's just sad.
Yeah.
Her existence.
Yeah, and they really give you nothing with her too, I feel like.
Yeah.
You don't know.
She's there, it's sad, and once you realize it and she goes off, you're kind of like, I hate how it happened, but yeah, her and Joe Cross weren't a match at all.
No, hell no, they weren't. So you have the old Austin Butler plot, which I really struggled to connect to the movie, just a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like, what we talked about, yeah, but struggled to connect it as a whole. And then you have this AI...
Yeah, the AI data center.
Data center warehouse.
I think that's supposed to be like the central background plot where it's like they're trying to come in and like there's obviously like some issues. And then I'm pretty sure they hire the like assassins at the end.
I think it's implied.
To do some stuff. And then Joe Cross becomes mayor anyways and he's like brain dead. So like the corporation gets what they want in the end. Which
is a brain-dead mayor.
Yeah, brain-dead mayor who lets them do whatever they want. So that's, I don't know. It's it still plays into the uncomfortable nature of Ari Aster films.
Oh, dude, it's such an uncomfortable film. But this was just less uncomfortable to me and more just like, I don't even know what I'm watching.
Beau's
right
Afraid.
now.
Yeah, his first three films, Hereditary, Midsommar, Beau's Afraid, definitely had more uncomfortable moments, like, just generally. This one is trying to play on, like, the discomfort and uncomfortableness that we had from 5 years ago. But, like, I don't know. I don't think it plays as well, because a friend of ours on Facebook pointed out that, like, the characters are kind of shallow.
In this film?
Yeah.
There's
like,
so many shallow characters in this film that you don't feel for any of them at the end.
Yeah, like, they're not really humanized. They're more or less like these representations of ideas and stuff like that. And he compared it to another film where it's like, the character's a bad character, and we know this. But throughout the film, it's shown that, like, this is a human being, and here's why they think this way, and they think this way. And it's like, you still come out with, oh, that's a bad guy. But they're a fully realized person at the same time. Kind of like real life. It's like, there's bad people. They're a fully realized person, though.
Right. Eddington as a whole, because we can kind of talk in circles about how, like, yes, the characters are shallow. Yeah, the plot didn't make a ton of sense, and it was very hard to connect, like, the outliers in the plot to the main story and find, like, a central theme here. I think more than anything, the central theme is, like, there's so much going on in our world, and with the spread of, like, misinformation, it is so hard to, like, kind of internally just, like, balance your thoughts.
Yeah.
And when there's so much going on, like, you're not making your best decisions. And when you're not making your best decisions, like, you're losing yourself just a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's what goes down with the characters in this plot, is they kind of lose themselves. I think Joe Cross is somebody who's trying to hold on to who he is until he shoots Ted Garcia. I mean, pretty crazy when he just rolls up with sniper and downs dude.
Yeah, I think it's just like, part of it is his wife leaves him at that same point and puts out that video or whatnot where she's like, no, that's not what happened. This is what happened. So, like, his whole world explodes, technically, after the world itself kind of exploded. So something I want to point out, that was pointed out to me, of course, by my girlfriend, thank you for pointing this out to me, is that all of Ari Aster's feature films kind of tackle uncomfortableness with certain facets of, like, society.
And life.
Hereditary is familial. Midsommar is, like, religious/spiritual type of stuff. Beau is Afraid is, like, your inner self and kind of parental. And this is, like, community.
Yeah, very much so.
So it's like, it keeps that theme kind of going with discomfort and uncomfortableness. What do you think's next? You know?
What does Ari Aster tackle?
Where does he go next? And should he go back to horror? Or strike out, just do more of just whatever?
I think next is, I think in Midsommar we see this a little bit, but friendship.
Yeah.
Would be something I would love to see him tackle. Maybe more in that horror setting. I would love to see another straight up horror film. I've heard about Eddington too, and that I'm like, please no. But I won't go see Eddington 2.
That would be wild, because he hasn't made a sequel yet. So
right.
It'd be weird if, like, out of all the films, he makes a sequel to Eddington.
Right. I wouldn't...
I mean, unless he just has so much, he's just like, I'm going to make this epic saga of nonsense.
Yeah, I wouldn't be down for Eddington 2. So, yeah, I guess there are plenty of things I would like to see him tackle. There is one thing I want to point out about this movie that is just classic Ari Aster style, and something that I just want to go back to with Joe Cross's character. Because I think one thing that happens in most Ari Aster films is your characters are trying to hold on to something.
Yeah.
You know, in Hereditary, she's trying to hold on to her dead daughter. In Midsommar, she's trying to
hold on to her relationship.
And hell, her sanity.
Yeah.
Once you get a certain point in, Beau is Afraid. He's trying to hold on to, like, I think not being a failure at times. I mean, there are plenty of things he's trying to hold on to, but in his sanity,
hold on to himself, because he's so, like, I mean, part of that movie is like he's so scared of everything in the world.
I think Joe Cross is trying to hold on to his status. And I think that's something we need to look at in this film. And I think maybe that's something where Austin Butler's character kind of plays a role in too, is just status. There's this scene in classic Ari Aster style. You've got these visual metaphors and representations. The scene where where Ted Garcia confronts Joe about him running for mayor.
Mm-hmm.
The wind is blowing, and Joe Cross's hat continues to come off, but he, like, keeps putting it back on. And then at a certain point in the conversation, he is just holding his sheriff's hat on his head as they talk. And this is one of the last conversations they have before Joe kills him.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, in this moment, he is physically having to hold on to, like, his title in the town, but probably just, like, his sanity as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think a part of that, he's trying to hold on to, like, everything. He's like, my dad was sheriff, I have to be sheriff.
Right.
His mother-in-law keeps pointing that out. She's like, your daddy was better than you.
Best sheriff, yeah.
Yeah, and then, like, his wife, he knows she's, like, growing distant and whatnot, and he's worried about that. And he ends up kind of losing his wife, which I feel like is a big part of it, because he felt like, as sheriff, he was, like, almost like this protector of her and stuff. So, yeah, I think that's a really good point. He is trying to hold on to his status. And there's probably also some subtext to be found within that and what he does to his deputy in the film.
Right, absolutely. Because the deputy situation, you get that, like, this is a guy that's just not being treated, like, the way he deserves to, kind of. Because you've got the plot with his his ex-girlfriend, who's trying to get him to join the BLM movement the whole film. And he's just kind of rejecting that.
Yeah.
The entire film for his job.
Yeah.
And I wonder if there's just something to be said about that, too.
I think there definitely is with what Joe Cross does to him in trying to frame him up.
Right.
Instead of the dumb guy.
Yeah, the dumb white guy. Yeah, absolutely. But I don't really have anything else to say about this movie. I will give it a score.
What's your score?
5 out of 10.
I think that's fair. 5 out of 10 is like mid type of mid type, you know. Maybe a 4 out of 10. I don't know, 4 or 5, something like that.
Yeah.
I can't give it a solid score.
If I had to rank the Ari Aster films, I would go Hereditary, Beau is Afraid, Midsommar, Eddington. Mm-hmm. What about you?
Midsommar, Hereditary, Eddington, Beau is Afraid.
Oh, you liked Eddington more than Beau is Afraid.
I don't know. Like, they're kind of interchangeable for me. Just because I think the top two are so strong.
Yeah.
But, like, Eddington and Beau is Afraid are, like, for me, you know?
If anything, I think, like, at the least, like, the Ari Aster Joaquin Phoenix combo is way better in Beau is Afraid.
Yeah.
I just connect to the direction and the character a good bit more than I do this go around for Eddington.
I don't know. I liked watching Joaquin as Joe Cross. I like watching him as Joe Cross. I don't like anything that he's doing on screen particularly, but it's just like an interesting watch to see Joaquin pull this off.
So, are you ready to move past Eddington?
Let's hit some smaller topics.
Smaller topics. Take us away.
First up, the Avatar Fire and Ash trailer premiered with Fantastic Four.
Yeah, my first and really only thoughts on that, because I haven't seen Way of the Water, is you can totally have such a long trailer when you have such a long movie.
For sure. I like what I'm seeing.
War.
It looks like a lot of war is going to be happening in this one between all kinds of different factions. I like the Avatar movies as big effects pictures, but also they kind of like have James Cameron, I think, is cleverly building this nice kind of saga out of like almost classical story beat type stuff, which, as a person who made a whole video about like narrative and stuff for Studio Cinema Saturday, I kind of like delving into that aspect of it a lot. And maybe it's a simple film, but they look good and it's fun to go see them. So I'm looking forward to it. Next up, I think we got to toss it to you.
So I do this thing every year where I just watch the movies that are coming out in the year, and I rank them. I just kind of put them in a list, and came across that I've already hit 20 films of 2020. 20 films of 2025. I'm 5 years in the past. I'm living with Joe Cross. And I just want to throw up in a tier list my 20 films. We can have a little discussion about it. And I haven't seen every film of 2025. So these are just the 20 I've seen. At number 20, Drop. I thought that movie sucked. At number 19, Hard Eyes. I kind of thought that movie sucked. At number 18, The Woman in the Yard. The films are starting not to suck as bad, but The Woman in the Yard was just kind of lame. Novocaine. Lame. Last Breath. A good retelling of a documentary, a popular documentary. I thought that was an alright film. So that's 2019, 18, 17, 16. That's 16. Number 15, The Monkey. Mid-film. Number 14, Eddington. Number 13, Snow White. Number 12, Companion. Number 11, Captain America 4. Maybe too high on the list. Number 10, Karate Kid Legends. Kind of mid. Number 9, Minecraft. I think it is so high based off of experience and just the splash it made in pop culture. Big splash. Number 8, Thunderbolts. Made it up the list, like higher than I kind of wanted it to. Number 7, Sinners. I didn't love Sinners as much as everyone else did. I'm sorry. Number 6, hot take, Wolfman. Loved this year's Wolfman kind of retelling of the classic story. Number 5, Mickey 17. Really good comedy by Bong Joon-ho, dude who made Parasite. Movie's amazing. Funny movie. Great action as well. Good sci-fi movie. It's just kind of a multi-genre piece. Number 4, Fantastic Four. Number 3, Warfare. Awesome movie. Number 2, Superman. And at number 1, my favorite movie I've seen this year, Bring Her Back. An amazing horror film that gives you the vibes of an Ari Aster, maybe even a Robert Eggers type horror film, but also maybe plays more into films like The Exorcist or The Conjuring, and really gives those like spooky vibes to a film, but also was just a sad, grief-filled movie. Bring Her Back had more substance than any film I've seen this year, and I just thought that was really awesome.
Yeah. So out of those 20 films, I think I've seen 11 of them. So I'm going to make it, next episode, come back and get Ham's list.
Okay. Next episode.
So I'll catalog my films.
What's your favorite movie you've seen in a theater this year? Excluding Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah, if it's a re-release, I'm not going to include that. New films this year? Oh, man. Sinners was really good. Sinners or Mickey 17, maybe?
Yeah.
Both of those I really enjoyed.
You got both those over Superman?
Oh, man. I've seen Superman 5 times now. Trying to make it 6. I don't know. You'll have to see. You'll have to tune in next time to see.
Oh, good answer. Other than that, I like to give a little Studio 24 update on the podcast. You know, by the time this comes out, we'll have the first episode of the podcast out and some clips. Me and Dalton, producer of the show, in the back on the camera right now, we've just shot our first music video for Bandana Cheyenne, Nashville artists. Check them out. Really awesome music, kind of folky, indie country vibes. We had a great time making the music video, and we love the way it turns out. The song and the video won't drop until September, I believe, but it was an awesome time. I've still been writing on a feature film that I'm almost done with. I'm like 20 pages away from finishing like the first draft, which has been an amazing experience. But other than that, yeah, we just kind of been working on the pod.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed this. The first pod was a hell of a thing to work on, but now that we kind of got our format down, gonna hit the ground running. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun journey on this podcast. I haven't done a podcast in years, but I'm loving getting back into it. I'm getting all my ideas from back in the day going. So yeah, I think that's all I got. That's all you got?
I think that's all I got for today, man.
Man, we're all out of words.
We're all out of words. Be sure to like this podcast, subscribe to Studio 24, come back for Real Talk. Talk some movies down in the comments below. I'm always responding. I love to talk movies. I would love to, if anyone has any thoughts about Eddington that maybe we missed because obviously we didn't connect to the movie that much. If you have thoughts on Eddington, if you have thoughts on Fantastic Four, I guess we just babbled about that forever. So,
yeah,
come back, check out the Real Talk podcast. Go watch a Studio 24 film. We've got plenty of films of our own that we've made on the channel, and we'll be making plenty more. So go check out some Studio 24 content, and we'll see you in the next video.